Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hunter Classic Outfitter Talks. This is episode 5. It should have been probably about episode 7 by now, but Pumbaa's recording software has lost the past couple due to audio issues. This week, we have a special guest since Cosmic couldn't make it. We have the Turkey Guy,
Hello there.
aka also known as Nubs or Spirit Deer throughout the Discord realm. So I guess, what do we want to talk about first?
Well, we were going on, before we were recording, we were going on about good deer cartridges and calibers. So I guess that'd be a good place to start off with.
Yeah, we can start with that. Right. What do you guys use?
Who's going first? I'll go first. I use a 243 Winchester Magnum.
Solid.
Yep, out of my Savage. Not an Axis, but it's one of those Savage models. It's older.
I've used a few. I also started off with the 243 in a Savage Axis. That's the gun I used for the first 6 or so years of deer hunting, and taken quite a few amount of deer with the 243. It's a good cartridge, especially for the youth, as you hear a lot of people say. Recently, I just started using the 350. I know that's a newer one for the straight wall states and stuff like that, and that's a very good one too. This year, I'm going to be using a 30-30, and I'll see how that old American classic does.
Not bad, dude.
30-30 is a little underpowered, isn't it? Or is it kind of...
I love 30-30, dude. 30 caliber.
30-30 is not underpowered. It's just it's a more I don't want to say inefficient, but it's a shorter range 243 essentially.
Yeah, I've heard it's comparable to a 243. I just wasn't sure where it falls, because I've heard a lot of people say, well, 30-30 isn't a very great cartridge to use for deer, but
well,
people still
it
use
depends, like where you are, what you're using it on.
You shouldn't be shooting deer more than 200, I'd say. With it, I'd like them to be like more along the lines of within 100 yards for a 30-30. Well, I hunt in very like brushy areas or in the opening of a field where they're going to come out of. So usually range isn't ever really a problem with me.
That's what mine's come down to. That's why I bought the 240 or got the 243. I shouldn't say I bought it, but that's why I got it and chose it out, is because the area where I'm at, we don't have much other than deer to begin with, so you don't really need a super large caliber. We have deer, we have fox, coyotes, and it's kind of brushy. And there's long range areas, like in good fields up here, you can get up to 300 yards out. So to put on something like that, it's a pretty straight shooting weapon. So,
which, if I'm not mistaken, Pumbaa, you're kind of in a location where it's decently flat, right? Or is it slightly hilly?
It's pretty hilly, but where I hunt, it's like kind of in a valley of it, so it kind of flattens out.
Right. Which, that's kind of bad part about Southern Ohio, is like I am in complete, 400-foot hills and stuff like that. Only the entire state is shotgun. So we're not allowed to use necked cartridges, which absolutely sucks.
That sucks.
You could use like a 350 Legend or a 450 Bushmaster.
My dad also recently bought a 350, but I for a long time have like a 44 Magnum. It's a single shot. It's probably like a 20-inch barrel, and it's done pretty good. But anytime we go out of state to hunt, I always take along my 7mm rim mag.
Solid.
That's what I wish they did up in PA. We can't hunt deer with shotguns up here, other than slugs. We can't use buckshot.
Well, yes,
yeah,
most states don't allow you to use buckshot. Well, I don't know if there is a state that allows you to use buckshot on deer.
Oh, yeah.
I could be wrong, but
They have
No,
like
Wisconsin does not allow to use buckshot on
No,
deer.
I
It's not.
know.
You can use slugs, but not buckshot.
Yeah.
It must be up here then, because I know down in like somewhere, it might be Missouri-ish area. You can use
I think like Missouri and
buckshot
Georgia
yourself.
might.
Isn't buckshot like? Isn't that what they call like the human killer? Can't you? Isn't that self-defense pretty much?
Don't they
Isn't
have
that all it's good for
self-defense?
now?
No, it's good against like varmints, like coyotes and foxes and things like that. It's very good against those, and it is one of the primary uses for like self-defense in firearms or for shotguns mainly.
Which I tell you, the one to use now isn't buckshot. They've come out with that tungsten load, and you use like number 2s in tungsten, and people are shooting coyotes at like 100 yards with them.
Shit, it's like a turkey load.
Yeah,
that's-
literally. I think copper has a density of like 8 grams per cubic centimeter or something like that, and then tungsten's like 16 grams, so it's like twice as dense as copper. I forget if that's the exact numbers, but it's way more dense. So it's like it's like shooting a 6-shot is like shooting a BB weight wise. So you can fit like twice as many pellets or like 3 times as many pellets and still have the same like impact on hit.
And tungsten, that's about the heaviest material in something, right?
Yeah, I think like literally tungsten's like right underneath gold. Out of like as far as like the most commonly used materials, I think tungsten is the heaviest.
I know
That's
it's one
like
of the strongest.
easiest to get kind of.
So it says here that like, and this might be wrong because I think I searched up the wrong thing.
Right.
But like Maine, Massachusetts, and Delaware. So like, what's it say? Only state shotgun regulations are allowing world record bucks to be shot, it says.
With what?
I have no idea. That's what it says. Google's an
Well,
idiot
that-
too.
Yeah, Google's a freaking idiot. It does not answer whatever
That
you
does not
Google.
answer my question.
No. I was gonna say if it has something to do with Maine, we should have had Cosmic in here. He would maybe know. But
Dude, Maine would be perfect for buckshot, wouldn't it? Trees everywhere. It's all brushy.
it's pretty dense, yeah. Well,
don't
I
know,
guess I'll
I feel like Maine is like a substitute for Oregon, kind of, only it's on the opposite side of the coast.
all the Oregon people be
Oh,
hating on you right now.
okay, I found it. So Alabama, Arkansas, Connecticut, Delaware, Georgia, Ohio, or Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, all them places down there you can use buckshot.
Iowa's not that far away. I'm surprised.
Yeah, you're right there. Hunting deer
Yeah.
with buckshot is allowed in Ohio. You can do it.
Well,
You
it could
can?
be
It
a
must
county.
Hang on. The minimum
It
size
could-
of the shot must be no smaller than 0.0. Double out.
Huh. I was not aware of that. I always just use slugs in a 44 mag.
Slugs is a little more solid. You get a little more range out of it
Right.
for the most part. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said,
Which
those tungsten
around
loads, maybe
here,
not.
at least like most of the time, like you can't really get a good shot over like 50 yards anyways, so
Yeah.
Back to
I guess I
the
should-
cartridges, since we're on that. In 3030, there's the new FTX type of cartridge that came out for it, and it allows you to shoot a lot farther with it because it's pointed and not
Not blunt.
rounded like all the other ones.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, I think I heard
That's kinda
something
nice.
about that.
And with the 350 and then the 450, Winchester's now come out recently with the 400, the
Damn.
straight wall cartridge. Little more than the 350, little less than the 450.
I wonder when the elephant gun will become popular.
I was thinking elephant gun would become more popular when like Kentucky Ballistics and all them were shooting them.
Well, Kentucky Ballistics also blew up
Also
a freaking
blew
50
himself
cal.
up.
Yeah. So I don't know if we should be trusting his opinions too much. He did buy those slap rounds from a kind of sketchy guy that made his own load. So I mean,
What a guy.
you know,
That
yeah,
dude
what a
was,
guy.
That
He
dude
had
was,
to, and now he has blown up a couple 50 cals, has he not?
Jesus.
One nearly killed him, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had the single shot, and then he blew up a Barrett, and I don't know if he did another one of them single shots or not, but
Wasn't he shooting like plus P loads out of them?
It was the slap. It was that
slap,
slap round.
yeah,
It's like a
50
tracer
cal
with a
slap.
something.
It's
Like
it's something
jack.
weird.
It's weird. And he was shooting freaking fire hydrants and stuff with it. It was crazy. Any of y'all get a turkey though this past season?
Can't say I hunt turkeys, so I don't have anything to add to this conversation.
Well, I
I
mean,
feel like you're
the
kind of
turkey
targeting
guy.
me here,
Yeah,
but
turkey,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
did.
Good
In
one?
Wisconsin, the turkey season runs a little weird. There's I want to say 5, 6, 7. There's like 7 weeks, and you apply for a tag, and it's a pretty easy tag to apply for, like a 70% chance you're gonna get it,
Right.
and you're assigned you request the zone, and then you're assigned a certain week in that period of like A through E, and you put in for the week you want as well. But I mean, depending on the seniority or however they work it, you might not get that, because this year I got week like the second to the last week, and usually I go for the third or the first, and I saw a good amount of turkeys, a lot of longbeards and stuff like that, but nothing ever came close enough for me to get a good shot. And then my dad watched some turkeys roost on the day to the last of my week, and so then we set up a blind in the field that night, went out in the morning, and by 8 a.m. I had my bird.
That's nice.
That's
Yeah.
pretty early. That ain't bad.
No. Southern Ohio does it a little differently. I think it comes in I think the youth comes in on a Saturday and Sunday. And then a few years back, they had it to where right after youth, that Monday started the regular season. But I think as of last year, they changed that to where they have youth Saturday, Sunday, and then they have a week. And then on the following Saturday and Sunday, the regular season opened up. But my brother and I went out this year, and unfortunately, it's been a few years now since I've been youth. And at the same time, the population of turkeys in southern Ohio, at least, have kind of been dwindling down due to bobcat activity and other such. Like, I think we had a rainy season, a very wet season, I think last year, so like the hatch wasn't that good. But we went out on Saturday. Of the opener of the regular season, and we saw 3 toms strutting in a field about 50 yards from a road, but it was private. And those birds sat there all day, or for most of the morning, and then they shut up and then went into like this pine trees area where you couldn't see farther than like 20 yards. And then that was about all we saw that day, outside of 3 other public land hunters. And the rest of the season was basically the same as that.
So you didn't get nothing, huh?
No.
That's like I said, with the way your state does it is kind of weird, Nubs. Like we can get ours at like the day that we go and get our buck tags. We can go and get our turkey tags too, right along with it. I think it's
Yeah,
just
I
the
guess
population though.
I guess it is kind of weird, but when my grandfather was in his youth, like around my age, there were no turkeys here in general. So I'd say it's a large step up from when and where my grandfather was with the turkey population at that time.
That
And
was the same thing for like central and northern Ohio too.
You just
and
grab your
you're
tag.
still only allowed one turkey per season. I don't know. I think I can get an extra take for the fall season when that comes around, because the fall season is way different than the spring season. You can shoot either sex in the fall, and it's just straight 3 months you can hunt for one bird.
Yeah.
Versus in the spring where you get 1 week for one bird.
That's what we've
It's a little
got.
weird that way. But in the fall too, you can't attract a bird the same way you would in the spring. In the fall, you have to do because that's when they form their bachelor groups, right? So you do a gobble that would attract a tom. If you did a hen call, that would attract a hen. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see. That's what we've got. Is in the fall, we can hunt both, and I think we can only take one each year from fall and spring. I think, unless if you pull a special tag. I might be wrong about that, but I don't know.
This seems like a really finagled system. If you got to pull a special tag to get 2 turkeys.
It's weird.
Well,
it's weird.
unless you're like the governor's daughter, I guess you can get the special take. You know,
Sure, maybe that way.
That's
Maybe
kind of
that's
the same thing that goes on with all of like the western states, especially with Wyoming. It has the special draw, which is like $1,300 for a bull tag, which I think they're going to raise that price next year to like $2,000. But the regular price, yeah, $2,000.
Man,
That's for to draw in a special for a bull.
That's
Which at that point, once you get to $2,000, plus if you've drawn preference points, which are like $50 a year for like 6 years, that's like another $300. So like that's like $2,300 to get like a decent bull tag in the special.
That's what sucks. Because around here, we don't even really see many elk, and you have to put in to get tags here anyway, and try to draw them. And if you want to go really to shoot one, you have to go out of state. And if they're getting even worse, that's gonna suck.
Is Wisconsin's elk population not like that, where you gotta have or elk season not like that, where you gotta apply for a special tag?
I don't know if Wisconsin has an elk season.
No, it does. I can actually give you some information on that. It does, and it's such a limited draw. There's like a dozen people per year that get a draw on it because it's such a thin area, and it's like only the center 4 counties in the entire state have an elk population.
Yeah, it's only a few herds.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I forget if it was that herd in Wisconsin or in Pennsylvania. Oh no, it was the Pennsylvania ones that they brought in elk from Arizona.
Yeah, we have
populate
one herd.
them.
Yeah,
and
in Wisconsin,
it's all the way
there's
in the west.
They introduced it like 5-10 years ago, maybe that.
I can't remember when they introduced our herd, but it's like, so I'm in like the northeast part of PA. They're all the way in like the southwest part.
Yeah.
So it's a good 100 miles, couple 100 miles.
I think it's all in the Northwoods here.
Yeah, but you're also like middle of the area. Are you near Colorado? You're near Colorado, aren't you?
What?
Yeah, aren't you?
What do you?
You're near Colorado.
The state?
Yeah, Colorado, the state.
I don't think you know your states very well.
Where are?
He's like 1,000 miles from Colorado.
Wisconsin.
1,090 to be exact.
Damn it.
Yeah, right below Little Canada, some would say.
That was a good guess.
Yeah, you're only 1,000 miles off. It's fine. That's close enough, right?
Close.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the quote I remember Pumbaa by probably for the rest of my life. You're by Colorado, right?
If that's the case, everybody's by Colorado. But no, honestly, Colorado is probably one of the worst states to elk hunt as far as quality goes.
Oh, and now you made half the population mad. Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
Jesus.
said as far as quality goes, if you're just going there to just like hunt and like all you want to do is like hunt, it's a
And
great
smoke weed.
state because they have easy like over the counter tags and like the draws aren't that bad to get into. But if you're wanting to go for like a quality like 3 to 320 inch bull, not saying they're not in Colorado because there are really good units in Colorado.
Like,
But-
unless you know some private land.
Well, yeah, if you're just going to a regular like 2-point unit, it's like either you're going to have contact with like private land, or the most you're probably going to see is like a 300-inch bull max in general.
When you guys are hunting, is it public or private land for most of you guys?
Public. I think
Public.
most of the people, I think even a lot of the residents, most of the time hunt public because most of the time you have like might have a couple farmers down like towards in the valleys and like once you get off the mountains and stuff that they might have like an elk problem, so they have people that come in and like shoot them. But most of the time, I think they're going to public land because it's all up in the mountains.
I mean, just when you guys go hunting in general, like for deer or whatever. Turkey.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
private.
Yeah, we never hunt. Oh, you do?
Yeah, I hunt. I hunt private really for deer.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm private too.
Lately, my brother and I have been trying public land.
It's probably not bad. I mean, we used to sit right next to some public land. I
No,
might go sit there this year.
most of it is getting used to like because there's kind of a different like it's kind of like a different type of hunting between private and public because on private like some people have like corn feeders and stuff or like a stinking food plot or something like that. But when you go on public land, like there's nothing in the woods. You can't really put up trail cameras or tree stands or anything like that. So you kind of have to just like walk around until you find good sign and then like find a good place to set up, which is kind of difficult. But my brother was able to get a doe last year at about, I think it was like 18 yards, and he ended up getting her. But
I've got a good deer story for when we get to that part of the podcast later, I guess, from this past season.
Yeah, I didn't really even get to finish the full story before the elk came up.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So now, what I try to typically do for a fall season for turkey is I try to, because their birds are very patternable if you go out enough. And I patterned a group of hens. Well, I say hens. It was 2 hens and a bunch of poults. And there was one, there was like the mother hen, and then there was an older hen that didn't have any young with her. She was just kind of in the group, kind of hanging in the back of them usually. And so that's the one I was targeting. And they would always walk within like 50 yards of my deer stand in a field every morning on one of the properties I go to. And so I just got my extra take, went up in my stand that next morning. They came around and I shot the old hen at around 45 yards with my shotgun. And when I aged her, she ended up being 8 years old.
It's old.
That's an old
Yeah.
turkey.
Meat's gotta be kind of tougher then, isn't it? Or are you not really shooting turkeys for the meat?
No, we do. I brought that one to the taxidermist actually because of the age of the bird.
Yeah, I don't know if you're
That's
gonna
the
get
one.
another one like that.
That's the kind of one you want to taxidermize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get it back in July actually. The taxidermy.
Have you ever had any wild turkey that tastes any good?
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never,
Oh, yeah,
I've never
all-
shot
yeah,
one,
all the
but
time.
I've heard some bad things.
Well, yeah, that's because you'll hear 2 groups. You'll hear 2 groups. Either 1, they're dry and gamey, or 2, they're the best bird you've ever gonna taste. And it just
Yep.
depends on the way you cook them, on which group you're gonna lie in. And now I'm in the one that says they're the best game bird that you're ever gonna taste because it depends on how you cook them and what you're doing.
I personally don't think I will ever eat a wild turkey just because I know what they eat, and
Well,
that
yeah, but come on.
Pumbaa, when it's digging through the freaking manure as it's getting spread out of the spreader, I really don't think I want to eat that
That's
thing because
just
they taste like
extra
what
minerals, man.
they
The
taste
cows,
like what
the
they
cows
like
that
shit.
you eat every day lay in that stuff.
Yeah, but
It's-
it's beef. They aren't
It's
eating
just
it.
extra flavor. I don't know what you're so
They eat
upset about.
grass. The
Sorry.
cows
Yeah,
eat
well,
the grass that are covered
I-
in manure.
I eat grass too. Okay, who doesn't? Oh, that's what got everybody to shut up. The fact that I eat grass.
Eat
I
grass.
was laughing. I don't know what you mean.
It depends on what kind of grass you're eating.
I don't know.
Okay,
Whatever.
okay.
Not weed.
The
Not
one
weed.
with 3 leaves.
Oh, not that one either.
Gotta
If
eat the
I'm gonna
free
eat
range
I'm at
grass.
least gonna make it like clover or something.
Gotta eat the free range
Medical
grass. It tastes better.
Medical grass.
No, that's not legal here yet, Pumbaa. Is it legal in your state?
I don't even know. I haven't tested it out.
I
Maybe.
think it's
What do you
legal in
mean?
this.
It's not
No,
legal in Wisconsin.
it's
I know
not.
it's
But you
not.
can. There was
There's-
something with it though that you could have it or something.
I don't think you can have it at all because I don't think it's even legal medicinally yet.
I see a lot of billboards
Soon-
for it across
soon-
the border.
It might be soon though.
Well,
We got-
to be
A
honest,
lot of
the-
states are trying to make it a state thing where like the state decides on it.
Yeah, which is how the Constitution was written, that it should be the state's decision whether certain issues.
I'm so glad that we've moved on to talking
Yeah,
about weed.
I know. We got into politics that
This
quick,
is
huh?
great.
We went from turkey hunting into politics.
All right. Anyway, back on topic.
Back to turkey. Back to turkey.
All right.
Let's
So
go back to turkey hunting.
what I like to do, or what my dad likes to do too, I gotta learn it from him. Is you just make it into a stir fry. I don't know how he does it. I don't have the recipe on hand, but makes it into a stir fry and it's good that way.
Well,
I've
don't
heard,
tell us
like,
your secret recipe.
No, you have to come over for that.
Yeah,
The Krusty Krab.
Krusty Krab. Yeah,
I bet.
It's my
I've heard
secret,
that, like,
secret formula.
you
I've
did that
heard-
way too well.
that was really good. I've heard that like marinating it big time and like brown sugar and stuff is
Oh yeah,
really good.
yeah. If we saturate it in brown sugar and molasses, I think it's gonna taste good. Oh yeah.
Or it might just taste sweet as shit.
Nah, anytime we shoot a turkey, I like to make turkey nuggets out of the breast. And then if you like boil the legs and stuff, you can turn it into like a broth. And then the meat's not as tough either for the legs.
Yeah, it's not a bad way to do it.
It's kind of like how you'd cook up a duck.
Oh, that reminds me. I don't know if I told any of you guys, but we got ducks. I now own ducks.
You own ducks.
Yeah, 14 of them,
No, poor ducks.
and counting. We're gonna get a few more yet.
I know somebody else, he trains dogs and stuff for waterfowl. And lately he bought some ducks and stuff for some training and everything. I think he has like a couple of like
Wait, hold up.
pet mounts. What?
Is he gonna use the ducks as live bait, like
He
for the
does.
dogs?
That's how he trains his dogs.
Wait.
Is-
That is-
All right, boys, time to go skeet shooting.
I can just imagine that someone's just walking their pet duck in their harness, and that dog just sees that duck, and
Oh yes,
Oh, that is.
that is the way.
Yeah, that is the way.
oh yeah. I also have to mention I saw the biggest coyote when I was turkey hunting this year
And you
too.
didn't just blast it.
Oh, I
Bird
need a
shot,
small game.
all
You need
100
a small
yards.
game license in Wisconsin to shoot a coyote.
A coyote.
So I had to scramble over the phone with my mom so that she could, because she was at home, so that she could get a small game license for me over however on their website, the DNR.gov website. So then I could shoot it, but it never came in close enough anyway for me to shoot it. It was at least like 60 pounds at least.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, it was.
Damn.
It was huge.
That would have been kind of funny, dude. 40 yards with birdshot, and you just see freaking the spread is like 20 feet.
What do you guys use, or what do you use for a turkey gun? The turkey man.
I use the Winchester XP NWTF edition, and that one's just basically has it's modified specifically for turkey hunting, and when you SX for SXPs for that shotgun model. When you shoot it, it's like half semi. It'll when you shoot it, it'll send the gas from the shot, or the however it'll send it the pump back. And all you have to do is push it forward after you shoot it, which halves the real time or the rechambering time.
Nice. Mine is definitely way cheaper than that is. No, dude, it's like, oh god, it's a 20 gauge pump. I think it's a Mossberg 500. I have no idea. It's one of those, but little pump, it's cheap. Pretty much made out of plastic. But it gets the job done.
My first bird I ever shot, I shot with my father's 12 gauge, and it's this old Stevenson shot 12 gauge. And for the sight, it's this piece of wood glued onto the back of the barrel, and then lined up on top, or lined up so the bead's lying on top of the wood, and then you aim with it. Bit of redneck ingenuity, but it works.
Mine's got a little bead on it.
I mean, whatever works. Like.
Yeah.
Do the whole green method that improvised that overtime.
Improvise, adapt, and end up buying a new receiver to put a red dot on it anyway.
Exactly.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Alright,
so we got another topic?
Yeah, someone mentioned earlier about deer stories they want to talk about.
Well, I got one that none of y'all believe. I guarantee none of you believe me.
Man, I shot this thing out of helicopter, and you cannot believe.
So I was sitting in my tree stand on a 3-day trunk, and that's when I seen it there. The turkey my butt. Nah, I'm kidding. No, it's not that one. But so I was out hunting. This was opening night on Wisconsin gun season, and I was sitting in my ground blind, and so all of a sudden I hear the little stick crack. I shouldn't say it's not ground blind. It's a little box blind.
I've heard this story.
Yeah, you probably have. I probably told this one to you. I don't know if Boomber or Cerebral heard it, but
I don't think
No, you just talked to me about it.
so I'm sitting in it, and I'm looking straight ahead down into the field on my grandpa's land, and all of a sudden I hear a stick crack to my right. So I lean forward a little bit, and look out a little side window. There's a frickin' 8-point buck standing there, like 6 yards away. Like I'm not even
Sleeping before that, how come you didn't see it?
he just walked out. He was in the woods behind me, just walked out a little bit and started eating on the meat stubble right in front of me. And for like a solid minute or two, he just was standing in front of me eating like less than 10 yards away. So I reached for my dad's 30-06 that I was using at the time. I get it, and I'm starting to bring it up, and the freaking strap on it, which had a little metal piece, it hit the stock of the gun and jingled, and the freaking buck ran back down into the woods in front of me. But he was no less than 10 yards, or he was like 10 yards away. Like I could have had a spear and freaking thrown it and killed him.
Should have thrown your buck knife at him.
I probably could have.
I will say
I was
that's a
freaking
rule
out.
of thumb for me, is to always take off my sling anytime I know I'm going to sit down somewhere.
Yeah, now I do that every time I get in.
The way that I usually shoot it, my sling's not very noisy, but it does kind of make that like jingle. I understand where you're coming from, because the one I used last year had a leather sling on it, so it was like older and it had that metal on it. But I usually shoot with my sling tucked in my hand underneath the stock when I'm shooting, like my forearm hand.
Yeah.
And I shoot it like that, so it doesn't really jingle.
Right.
But
Well, I
to be
should
fair,
finish
I
the
also
story.
shoot out of a ground, like not a wooden ground blind, but a, so you can't really rest on it.
Yeah, it's true. I had a nice rest right in front of me. I was just picking it up, kind of getting ready to shoulder it and set it down on the rest in front of me, and then it jingled, and then he he got his tail up and worked his way down into the woods, and then he popped out on the other side of the little woods. It's just a little swampy area in between the two fields. He pops out on the other side. My dad blasted him, got him.
Nice. Smoked them.
But I texted him. That's the only I was as soon as he got into the woods, I whipped out my phone, texted my dad. I'm like, the big buck in the woods. You try and get him when he pops out on your side. Sure as shit, he got him. I wish I could have gotten him, but what are you gonna do? That's how sometimes the wheel rumbles. I don't know. There's bigger bucks out there. He was busted up. He was missing 2 points that busted off due to fighting. So, I mean, my uncle had pictures of a 12 point and another 10. So I wasn't too worried when I didn't get him, but then nothing else really came out for the rest of the season. So,
dude, I kind of got a few mini stories to tell you guys. So like last year, I've never hunted archery before. And last year I bought a crossbow and some bolts and some broadheads and whatnot. And it's like the first or second week, so they're not really going crazy. And I had a group of does, and I was kind of like, I'll take any deer at this point because I just want to kind of kill one. So I went over there, and I kind of like crawled my way to them. I actually have footage, believe it or not. And I crawled over to him, and this doe walks from 30 yards all the way to like 10 yards because she doesn't know what I am. And I shoot this broadhead at her at like Mach 15 at 10 yards. And I'm looking, so it's like, I know it hit her, and it was right in the breadbasket. And I look over there, and I watch where she runs. I go look for blood, and there's no blood. Ever. And I mean, I follow where she goes. I have footage. I look at the footage. Perfect shot. And I just can't find this deer. I still haven't found this deer to this day. But I freaking look in the footage, and apparently my broadhead... So you know the Rage hypodermics? Like 2 blades?
That's what I use at my crossbow, and that does a number on
They do
everything.
good.
So if you didn't get any blood, there is something didn't go right.
Well, you know what went wrong?
It didn't expand?
I didn't have the blades in the tabs.
Oh,
So they were just outside of the tabs, and they just probably broke off and didn't do anything.
Went to Narnia.
Yep.
that sucks.
But then,
Yeah, I always use a fixed blade for that reason.
yeah. But then,
Well,
later that night, I go out to my dad's stand, which is up on the hill, and it's like, this is the one day he's taken off. So he was kind of like at home because he was sick and didn't want to go, so he let me sit there. And I sit there all night, and it's like 6 o'clock, it's turning dark, and this freaking 10 point I also have a picture of walks out, and he's like massive, and he walks out around 50 yards from me, which is kind of in my range. I have a 50 pin. So I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. And I shoot, and now again, I don't have light up knocks yet because I was like first year, I didn't know what to buy. And I shoot, and I'm looking for blood, no blood. This one I know I didn't hit him. It probably went over top of him, but I don't know. Just a sucky day. So I
I
missed
think,
the biggest buck of my life that day as well.
yeah, that sucks. I
But
think what you should do is you should check your that you should check your broadhead before you go out.
yeah, I have that buck in the general chat, by the way.
Yeah, but I've,
It looks decent.
if not my 243, my crossbow has taken the most deer that out of all the deer I've shot. And last year I got into archery, actual archery, using a compound. I practiced with it all summer relentlessly. I practiced with it so much I got archer's shoulder from it. So I had to give it a rest for a few days or 2 weeks. And then I went out probably more than 13 times. Wasn't too eventful of a time. It was like that October lull type of thing. And eventually I go and sit on the family friend's property, and two does, or what I thought was doe, walked out, and I got a heart shot on a nub buck at 30 yards. So then that was my first deer with a compound.
Damn. And
All
we
right,
are back.
Yeah, we're back. Pumbaa's internet went to hell. So
Just
sorry
a little technical difficulty, nothing too bad.
Frontier
Sorry
is
about
shit.
that. I don't know what the last thing it actually caught was. I'm assuming something about the compound bows. Do we have any comments we want to make to that, or we just want to go on to a new topic? For the
I think
last
we were just
Nothing,
about finished
nothing
up
really,
with
I
that.
guess. Just that there's a good amount more to it, I guess. And you have to get fitted and all that other stuff. Do it properly.
Yeah.
With all your arrows, and then you got the bow frame, and then the sight for it if you don't like the one it came with.
Yeah, all that.
And making sure you're down pat, practicing, everything else.
So when you're practicing with a bow, are you just trying to get accuracy, or are you trying to train your arm to hold it? Like, what is the?
It's a mix of things. You're getting, when you shoot a compound, you have a stance. Everyone has their own stance, and it goes from where you position it on your cheek and your rest, to how you're holding it with your hand, to how you're standing or sitting with it. There's a stance you do. And there's different, and you should practice in different stances for different situations. Like if you're sitting in a tree stand, or if you're standing in a tree stand, or if you're standing on the ground or sitting on the ground. It's just different areas you got to practice with it in. And then for holding it, a lot of people like to hold it open-handed. Some like to do like a loose closed hand hold.
Yeah, I'd
Alright.
say
It all just
probably
varies.
most of the time people like, I mean, obviously when you get your bow and you get all your sights and everything on it, you're gonna like kind of sight it in to where you're close. But I think for the most part, especially like before season, you're just concentrated on getting your form down. So like, if you're shooting 5 inches left every time, but you're shooting like arrow on arrow, it's like that's what you'd rather have because you can always move your sight over. You can't always teach yourself to have better form when you're shooting.
Yeah, and there's some truth to that too, with what you're going on. But with mine, I have it all down pat and dead on and everything like
But yeah,
that. I was gonna.
once you have a good solid form that you can just, let's say you don't shoot a month and you come back out and you can use that same form and like you're not moving form around, then yeah, you just sight it into where you're shooting quarters and then you just leave it and then you just keep using that.
I think the most impressive shot I've done is I hit a Robin Hood at 50 yards.
My brother did that once. Yeah, it was at like 50 yards and he
I
slipped
was
his
kind
arrow.
of pissed because that means I just broke an arrow.
Yeah.
Dude, I would have kept the arrow in the other arrow and just like put it up somewhere.
No, you don't get it. Robin Hood's the arrow doesn't stay in the arrow; it shatters the other arrow.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
fiberglass, isn't it?
My
A lot of them
buddy's
are
got
carbon.
one.
Or
My
Carbon,
buddy's
it's
dad
not
has
fiberglass. You can get them in either aluminum or carbon.
Okay.
Carbon is just all around better.
Yeah.
My
Doesn't
buddy's
splinter
dad
as
has
easy?
one
Or...
that he is Robin Hood, and it's still inside of it. I don't know what it's made out of. It's probably not.
Probably aluminum if it didn't shatter.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Or completely splinter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you, Turkey Guy, have you seen the new arrows that they came out in like the last few years, or last couple years, with like the 4mm shafts instead of
I
the
don't think I
6?
have.
My brother, when I first got my bow, I got a new compound bow, which was like a Hoyt Torex, like 3 years ago. I got like the regular like 6mm, like carbon bow or the carbon arrows. But then my brother got these ones that are like a 4mm shaft. They like did something where they're just as strong, only they're not the diameter isn't as large, so it has way more penetration.
Makes sense.
Interesting.
Yeah, and he
Have to
started
bring that
shooting
up in
them,
another
and then
episode,
they were
maybe.
just like, I thought like, oh, there's got to be a trade-off or something. Like they're not going to be as accurate or something. They're not going to be as consistent. But no, he would like we were shooting the same poundage on our bows, and we were using like shooting the same distance, same broadheads, and everything. And his arrows were going in like an extra 4 inches into the target than mine. Like mine was going in like 7 inches into the target, and his were like blowing through the target.
Was that all how we kind of want to end her off? Talking about
Yeah, we've been going for how long now?
Probably
About
about
an hour.
yeah,
Film,
50
anyway.
minutes to an hour.
Yeah, I think we're running out of time here on the clock.
All right. Well, in that case, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, the Turkey Guy, for showing up, being our I think
Anytime.
first actual guest. Because I believe at the time after we had Cerebral as a guest, then he became a host. So yeah, we'll be sure to give you another podcast here, especially if we can't get a fourth host.
Oh yeah, I'd love to.
So,
Yeah.
so all right, we'll call her there, I guess.